Good evening from London. Welcome to Piers Morgan Uncensored. Sir Keir Starmer may well be the next British Prime Minister. Labour leader is a hearty lead in the polls. After 13 years of Tory rule with 3 Prime Ministers in one chaotic year recently, his path to power is clear. But he still has to prove he knows what matters to the British people. And today, I believe he made a massive miscalculation. He's reportedly briefed his top team to avoid talking about social issues, woke issues, because apparently the public doesn't care about them. He couldn't be more wrong. The public does care.
Karma seems to have caught up with Keir Starmer again. This time, it wasn't the Conservatives, the voters, or even his famously flexible spine doing the damage. No, the knockout came from Piers Morgan. Yes, that Piers Morgan, the man who's made a career out of arguing with everyone from celebrities to cereal boxes. When he manages to break down your political stance, the country.
Today, Starmer dramatically upped the ante by announcing that he will resign if police find him over the apparently illicit beer and curry soiree that he shared with his campaign staff. It's an amazingly high-stakes gamble, and of course would put Johnson under huge pressure to do the same if he does have to quit. But I suspect hypocrisy and lying might finish them both off, whatever happens. Boris broke the rules he set for the rest of us and then repeatedly lied about it. Starmer said that Boris must resign when police investigated. Now the same thing's happened to him, but he hasn't resigned. He just committed to resign.
Let's talk about Starmer's greatest magic trick, promising everything.
Something unbelievable just happened in British politics, and it came from a place no one expected. Piers Morgan's studio. Yes, the man who's argued with more people than Parliament has chairs absolutely dismantled Sir Keir Starmer in a way that even Starmer's fiercest critics weren't prepared for. And the timing couldn't be worse for a Labour leader who's supposed to be coasting comfortably toward number 10.
He thought sitting down with Piers Morgan, the high priest of loud opinions, would be a gentle, friendly chat. Oh, Keir, bless that fragile hope of—
He's had 4 years. He can't tell you what he would do differently because he doesn't have a plan. And if you don't have a plan, you can't deliver any change. Nothing will change for the better, whereas I can do that for people.
Here's what I say at the end, is that Keir Starmer has resolutely not delivered on his pledges to do an interview with me for Piers Morgan Uncensored. You've now done 2 in the space of the last year. I appreciate that. I think you do put yourself up to be held to account more than he does.
I'll give him this. At least he showed up. But sitting across from Piers, Starmer looked like a soggy paper bag trying to hold—
Tonight, we're breaking down how one interview, one moment, and one brutal miscalculation sent Starmer's carefully crafted image crashing down harder than Liz Truss's mini-budget. It all started with what Starmer thought would be a straightforward media appearance. A calm, grown-up conversation, a chance to show leadership. But instead, Morgan opened with a grenade. Why is Starmer instructing his top team to avoid talking about social issues millions of Brits actually care about? Crime, gender debates, free speech, community tension, real everyday concerns. Starmer's reported strategy: just don't mention them. Pretend the cultural divide doesn't exist. Morgan pounced, calling it a massive misread of the public. And he wasn't wrong. Starmer wants votes, but people want answers. From there, the interview spiraled into something almost painful to watch. Morgan didn't need shouting or theatrics. He simply held up a mirror, and Starmer didn't like what he saw. For a man who claims to understand the British people, he suddenly looked like he'd never met one. It was all hesitation, hedging, carefully polished lines crumbling under pressure. And then Morgan hit him with the question that shook the room: why should the country trust a man who demands resignations from others, but won't resign himself when facing the same accusations? Let's talk about that moment: the beer, the curry, and the pledge that could backfire catastrophically. Starmer has now publicly vowed to resign if he's fined by police over the so-called Beergate incident. A bold gamble, maybe too bold, because whether he's guilty or innocent almost matters less now than the political trap he's built for himself. He set the standard for Boris Johnson. Now he's caught in his own rules. If one fine appears, his entire career implodes on the spot. Morgan didn't have to shout, he just let the contradiction speak for itself. And while Starmer squirmed, Morgan dissected another signature weakness: Starmer's habit of promising the world, then delivering about as much as a vending machine that eats your coins. Bold pledges before elections, soft excuses after. Every time the public looks for certainty, he offers caution. Every time they ask for passion, he serves paperwork. Morgan didn't need insults. The contradictions were enough. Starmer looked like a man trying to simultaneously please every corner of Britain and succeeding with none of them. But the moment that really made Starmer wobble, when Morgan exposed the fatal flaw in Labour's strategy, their belief that ignoring culture war issues will make them disappear. It made Starmer look detached, insulated, and catastrophically out of touch. Because whether politicians like it or not, people do care. They care about safety, fairness, identity, freedom of speech, and the feeling that their own country is changing faster than their leaders acknowledge. Starmer's silence suddenly looked like weakness, or worse, avoidance. Morgan pressed. Starmer dodged. Morgan pressed again. And the more Starmer tried to control the narrative, the more it slipped through his fingers. Viewers could practically feel the frustration radiating from both sides of the desk. Starmer wanted to appear steady and serious. Instead, he looked like a man holding a bucket while a tidal wave crashed over him. For someone who promised grown-up politics, this was a masterclass in how quickly the grown-up tone collapses when real pressure arrives. And here's the brutal truth. This interview wasn't just a bad night. It was a warning shot. A reminder that the British public is tired of vague promises, tired of political choreography, and tired of leaders who speak like they're reading out the back of a cereal box. If Starmer wants to be Prime Minister, he'll need more than polls and PR. He'll need conviction. He'll need clarity. And he'll need a spine that doesn't fold the moment a tough question lands. Otherwise, moments like tonight won't just bruise him, they'll break him. Stay tuned. Britain's political story just got a whole lot more unpredictable.